I'm going to show you two methods. So the first one is using a sponge brush, and my palette is just one of those cooking cutting blocks that I just keep using again and again and again. I've put down a good amount of paint, and silk screening, the screen likes to be wet. See how much my brush soaked up? That was a good sized puddle of paint. So I'm going to put a little bit more, because with this method I really like to have my brush evenly loaded up with paint. See how I kind of work it in? So then you'll take your silk screen, position it on the fabric, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply an even layer of paint onto the silk screen. I'm noticing what tension I'm using, how hard I press, and then what I'll do is I'll carefully pull up the screen. Ooh, that's great. That is gorgeous. That worked really well. This is the silk du peony. So let's go next door. Let's put it on the silk organza. Now, you want your screen to be wet. You have to work pretty quickly with silk screening, because if this acrylic paint dries on my screen, it'll clog the opening. So I keep holding up the screen to the light and watching it. I'm seeing a little drying going on at the bottom. My strike was beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this screen and pop it in my tub of water, which starts out clean, but by the end of the day, this first tub will be murky and dirty. I've got two tubs going on here, and the setup is really important in success in your silk screening, because once I put the screen into that tub, then I can clean it. If I'm working in a series and I don't want to stop, just by putting the screen into the water, we'll keep it wet and we'll keep it from clogging. But if there's any little bits of paint, or I love these metallic Lumiere paints and I use them a lot, and they've got little particles of metallic in them, and those little particles are what are going to clog the screen. So that's actually pretty clean. You can put it into your clean water to give it a final rinse. And then over here I've got a stack of towels, old terry cloth towels, and I will just dry it off. Now basically, if I'm going to use it again, I dry it very carefully. If I'm going to move on and use another screen, I've got a dish drainer. It can go in the dish drainer and it'll dry on its own. Let's play with couple other possibilities. So this is another metallic paint, and I'm shaking it up so that I distribute the paint evenly. The first screen I used was brand new, so it was very, very clean. This is one of my favorites, so it has been used again and again. The screen can get stained, but it's still usable. The screen is still open. So here's another way to apply paint, and I would recommend that you try both methods to see which works with your fabric. And if both work, see which one you like better. So what I've done here is I've squeezed a bead of paint along the top edge of the silk screen. Then I take my credit card, and with a firm movement I pull, and you can actually see the paint moving through the screen. And then pulling it off takes a little bit of practice so you don't smear it. Okay, well, that's pretty subtle, but it's beautiful. So let's see how it works on the organza. At this point, there's enough paint on the screen for me to get another strike easily. Okay, that was pretty faint, so I'm going to try another one. This is very much trial and error. So this time I'm going to apply a little more pressure. And I move in different directions, but you have to be careful, keep the screen from shifting. Okay, so that's a little more subtle. I want to give it one try. This time let's load up the brush. And so you can see the difference between the brush and the credit card on your fabric. So here, I'm quickly loading my brush up. This is another way I use paint too, is just I use old plastic lids. The thing about the brush is it holds the paint in it, so sometimes it delivers a little more paint, which is good for fabric, but not always great for paper. Yeah, see, I got a clearer strike by using the brush than I did from using the credit card.